windy today. That's a major Key West alert. Roll the intro. Okay, we're out of the wind for right now, but where we are, we're in the beautiful area of Key West. So Key West is at the bottom southernmost point of Florida, about 120 miles south of the mainland. That's the distance driving by road all the way through the Keys. But this area is renowned for its natural beauty and things to see and things to go do. But today we're going to be talking about things to do from the budget perspective, because if you're a traveler like I am most of the time, we aren't going to break the bank on hotel rooms. We're not going to go crazy at bars and clubs. We're really just trying to travel the world and see the most beautiful places we can without breaking the bank. So we're going to start this video off with a lot of the things you can go see and do, basically on foot and without having to spend too much, and then we'll probably work our way up to all the other things you can go do and see in Key West. So if you're not really riding, sunrise and the clouds are it's a nice little walk back and forth to give you a nice angle going down towards the rest of Key West, and then you can move on to the next part. But we're going to go do that because it's so windy out here that it's actually really hard for you to hear me. So I'm getting into a much safer location so that I can come across. So this actually is the southernmost point in the continental United States, so you can take that, Texas and Cali. I'm sure people from Texas and Cali are really nice, but I just wanted to be right from previously before in that other clip. So right behind me is the structure that says it's the most southern point of the continental US, and there actually is a line to go take a photo of that. So it faces east, so I guess the best time if you really want the best photo of it that you can get is sunrise, but you might have to fight off some people for it because in the middle of the day, it's going to be hard to get a shot of that without anyone in it because people are just going to be trying to get in and out to get their selfie of it. Most likely Instagram's fault at this point, but there's not much you can do about it. It's what people think about when they think of a picture of Key West is getting a picture next to this stone. But there's no charge for it. You just got to walk up, maybe wait in line patiently, and then take a photo. So if you want to really pry into your wallet, one of the things you can do is go check out the view from the top of the Key West Lighthouse. The cost is $17, but if you get your ticket online, you get $2 off. So that's about $15 for most adult tickets. If you're under the age of 7, lucky you, it's still free. But this is a small view that you can get for a small price in Key West, and I'm sure the view is fabulous from up top. But since it's only open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., you won't be able to get a sunrise or sunset shot, but you'll get an awesome panoramic view from the top of this lighthouse. If you want to start to break into your wallet some, you can come check out the Zach Taylor Fort Historic Park. It's at the edge of Key West. It's a total of $2.50 per person to come and check out the fort and hang out at the beach, which most people come for. If you want to drive in, it's $4.50, so it's really going to take a toll on your wallet. But the best time to come out is around sunset. Since it faces the westward area, the sun's going to come down at a nice perfect angle. So if you want to start your morning off slow and then come here in the afternoon, that'd be the best bet. For those of you starting to get hungry, one of the most highly recommended restaurants in Key West is the Blue Heaven Bar and Restaurant, which is right behind me on the corner of Thomas and Pachona Street. It's known for its Key West local tropical cuisine, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner with the ability to make some small table reservations for dinner as well. If you're looking for something a little different, then you can always go check out Duval Street. So if you've heard the term Duval before, it either means you've been to Key West or you're around the Jacksonville Jaguar fans in 2017 when their football team was good at activities. Now they're really bad again. But Duval Street is covered with restaurants, bars, souvenir shops, ice cream stands. Anything you could think of that you might want or need, you can find on Duval Street. Close to the end of the west side of Duval Street, you'll find an area called Mallory Square. This is the place to go to at night for the nightlife, the partying, the dancing, the music. Every single night they celebrate the sunset in Mallory Square. So if you need a place to end your night and you don't know where to go, it's a cool place to go check out. As you can see what's passing right behind me, in Mallory Square you can pick up a trolley ride to get a historic tour of Key West. Now there's a few other companies as well as two that you saw earlier. One looks like a train, it's called Conch to the Train or something like that. But speaking of some of the other excursions you could be getting into in Key West, some of them include a lot of the water stuff like jet skiing, boat rentals, boat tours, sunset cruises, snorkeling. There's almost any water activity you can think of you can come do in Key West. So if you are willing to spend a little bit more money on having some fun or an activity that you want to go do with your friends and family, there are plenty of options you can find, and they're marked at the very end of the Mallory Square and Duval Street. If you look at the map that they hand out, it's run by a company called Fury, does a lot of them. So I definitely recommend checking those out if you want to do a little bit more than sit in the sun or lay on the beach all day. For getting around Key West, I definitely highly recommend just walking. It's a very short area, it's very easy to walk around this entire place. But if you want to be rolling around with a little bit more style, you can rent bicycles, you can rent mopeds, or you can rent little golf carts to get around. Now you can drive your car, but there's very limited parking, you can't go that fast anyway. So I'd recommend leaving your car at the place that you're staying at and just going around on foot. The main question every budget traveler wants to know is where am I going to stay and how much is it going to cost? So unfortunately, Key West is so small and remote and sought after by so many people that it is pricey to stay here. Even the hotel or motels are super expensive for what they would be somewhere else. For example, I stayed at the Key West Youth Hostel and that was $90 a night for a bunk. If you've ever stayed in a hostel, you know that that's outrageous. And if you don't know what a hostel is basically summer camp for adults. It's a series of bunk beds in a room and you get a bunk for X amount. Typically they're $25 to $30 abroad or overseas. In Key West it was $90 a night. Now if you have a group of friends, I would highly recommend just splitting a motel or hotel room. They typically go for $200 to $300 as I mentioned earlier. But that way if you have a group of people, you're splitting the cost so it's not as expensive and then you're staying in a better place for less money than staying in a bunk in a hostel. Alright, so how do you get to Key West? You can take a plane, a train, or an automobile. I'm just making a joke. You can take a plane or an automobile, but you can no longer take a train here. The train bridge is now collapsed and broken. But you can take a boat here from Naples if you're from the Naples area. So if you're going to try to decide how to get to Key West, I would think about where you're coming from and what you want to do. For example, if you're coming from a surrounding state, you'll most likely be better off driving all the way down. A few extra hours in the car beats going to the airline for a day and spending all day traveling by air and then having to find a rental car or an Uber. If you're flying from the north or out west or the Midwest or even maybe a different country, you'll want to try to fly directly into Key West, because you don't want to fly to Miami and then have to pay to rent a car to drive all the way down to Key West and then be paying for a rental car as it just sits there by your hotel. So depending on where you're coming from really impacts what you're going to be doing to get here, but I highly recommend driving if you can, if you're within a good distance. But if not, the best solution is to fly straight here so you can avoid rental car fees. Some of the locations you could plan on photographing while you're staying at Key West, one place I highly recommend if you have a car is the Baha'i Honda Key, which is located about 40 minutes away from Key West. And it's on the awesome old train bridge that you might have noticed as you were driving in if you drove. And it's kind of slowly falling apart, but you can get some awesome shots of sunset, of the sun going down next to the old train bridge right along the water. So if you've got an ND filter or some plates to make the water go flat, you can get a really cool photo. Some other places are more around the Key West area. The Fort Zachary Taylor State Park, which I mentioned earlier, it's a great place I've been told for sunset. Now, I didn't get a chance to go there for sunset because the night I was planning to, my legs were way too tired from making this video to actually get there. So I actually set up by the Truman Waterfront Park, which has kind of a westward facing angle. I kind of got the sun going down next to a jetty, but right across is the old Coast Guard ship that did some service previously. So you can get some cool blue hour shots of that after the sun goes down, because it's still facing the westwards direction, but not exactly to kind of get the sun in it. But you can still get some cool shots of the ropes leading up towards the ship. Another Instagrammable place that's been made famous by social media is the Southwest Point icon / like statue. Now this is a tourist trap. There actually is now a line of people waiting to get their photo taken with this. So even though it faces for sunset, you might not be able to get a photo unless you go for sunrise, and to get a few shots with nobody in it at first to kind of get your base composition, then kind of edit what the clouds give you later on. So if you want a clean shot, you're gonna have to go for sunrise, or you might have to get lucky and just take a quick 10-second, not even get 10 seconds, you can maybe like a quick exposure, because I don't think the line behind you for sunset is going to appreciate you standing there for 20 minutes trying to get one photo. Other places in Key West you could also go check out. Smathers Beach might be awesome for sunrise. I wanted to take a sunrise shot here, but my alarm didn't go off. Higgs Beach Pier would be good for sunrise, or even during the day, just trying to get general beach life of people enjoying themselves on the beach, doing beach things, some cool candid shots, some volleyball games, just whatever's going on for beach life. You might be able to get some just nice shots there while you're trying to figure out where else you're gonna go throughout the day. You could also get some cool shots of the architecture. If you find the Strand on Duval Street, it lights up at night. It's got some awesome big theater neon lights. It's now a CVS, but it's still a cool photo. Or you can get some of the neon lights or strips of lights that the bars and restaurants set up to try to get people to come in. You can get some cool angles with those as well. And one thing I also have to recommend is going to visit the two art galleries, or should I say, the two photography specific art galleries in Key West. The two big ones are Peter Lick's gallery and George Dela's gallery. Now Peter Lick is a worldwide photographer, so all of his photos aren't specifically just in Key West, but when you walk into his gallery, he has one photo that is located somewhere in the Keys, and one of the two workers might be kind enough to give you a general idea of where it is. But if you want specific Key West inspiration, you want to go check out George's gallery or the Dela gallery. It's about a block away on the opposite side of the street, but a lot of his photos focus on Keys, Key West, and the South Beach, Miami area. So it's a lot of seascapes and a lot of sunrises or sunsets or blue hours, or some really cool aerial shots looking down at the crowds. But looking through his work can give you some really awesome inspiration for what you want to go and photograph in Key West. Moving on to one of the final parts, the price breakdown of my trip to Key West. So I was there for about 3 days, 2 nights total. So the first thing is what I paid for accommodation. A hostel for 2 nights in Key West was $180. That's $90 a night for a hostel. As I mentioned earlier, that's highway robbery for a hostel, but you're in Key West, there's nothing else about it that you can do. For a 3-day rental car, it's about $135 plus whatever you might be paying in gas, so maybe add on another $20 to $30 in gas. For food, I probably had 3 meals when I was there because I was eating Pop-Tarts and Cliff Bars otherwise. But for the 3 meals I had, it cost me about $50 because meals are about $12 to $25 a plate depending on where you go, as I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. It would have been $80, but there's a very nice couple from Texas paid for one of my meals. I gave you my business card. If you guys are watching this, please send me a note. I'd love to send you your print from Key West in return. It's one of those things you didn't have to do, but I really appreciate it because it helps me out a lot. For souvenirs, I got this shirt for $30. For my excursion, I forgot to mention this in the photography segment, but if you get the chance to, go check out Dry Tortugas. For my seaplane excursion there, it cost me $360 for a half-day trip. Not so that expensive because the seaplane gets you there in about 40 minutes versus the 2-3 hour ferry ride, but you're only actually on location for 2 hours if you're on a half-day trip. So they're just things to think about. There are longer trips, but they're more expensive. The most cost-effective one will be the boat, but you won't be able to see the island from above. In addition to the fee you pay for the excursion that you take, the basic entrance to the park is $15. So if you take the boat or plane, just add an additional $15 for the entrance fee to Dry Tortugas. And then the one thing that's hard for me to factor in is your flight to the area. If you fly directly to Key West, you might be paying $400 for a round trip. If you fly somewhere else in Florida, you might be paying $200 for a round trip. So that's one of those things you have to think about when deciding how you're going to get down there and how you want to be getting around your location when you're there. So that's a lot of the tips and advice I can give you guys for just the general Key West area. If you have any more questions or comments that I might be able to answer, leave them in the comment section below. If you have something photography specific, feel free to ask that as well, or maybe something travel specific. Any kind of question I can answer goes a long way with helping me help you guys. So as always, with every video, let's recap.